All right, guys. Think of this almost as somewhat of like a mini podcast, compilation video. This is the kind of video I would typically do as a live stream, where I'll just be like a late night discussion or, Saturday chat or something like that. But I've been getting, messages and I've been reading comments and everything, especially on recent live streams. And, a lot of people have just been asking, how am I in regards to life stuff? And to be completely honest, not too great, but there are some ups and downs. So I don't know how this video is going to come across. It might be ranty. It might sound like I'm complaining, but just know that I'm not trying to garner sympathy. I'm honestly going to answer some of the questions I've received. So let's start off on real world stuff, which I usually don't cover. And if I do, it's only because it's like if it's pop culture related or something. But, oh yeah, before we get started, you know the drill. Like, subscribe, bell notification icon, select all. Links are in the description to my social media. And if you want to donate to the channel, feel free to do so. PayPal, Cash App. Okay, that's done. All right, so first off, gas shortages, crazy stuff. Honestly, this had 2020 written all over it. I mean, when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, it must be like certain places. Oh, it's the East Coast. Oh, about 50% of gas stations in Virginia are out of gas. What the hell? So thankfully, I don't really go out that much. And any place I've been in the past couple weeks, I think it was like last Wednesday or Thursday, I actually went out myself. I just went up the street to like Dollar Tree, Walgreens, and neighborhood Walmart, like at night, got what I needed. So the car's been parked in the same spot for over a week, and gas tank is damn near full. It's close. It's not exactly on the F, but it's like 3 notches below it, so I'm good on gas. And I might be going home. I was going to go home this weekend, but there really wasn't a point because everybody was going to be at work. I was going to go home because, one, I haven't been home in over a month, and two, it was going to be a chance to kind of get things squared away. Okay, like where can I put my stuff when it's time to move next month, and things of that nature. But with everybody working today, I'm recording this on Saturday. With everybody working, and plus I don't really get paid until like the beginning of next week from my eBay sales on the stuff that I need to get ready over the weekend to mail off on Monday, and I don't get my YouTube money until the 21st. It's like, okay, I know I'm probably going back home either the middle of next week or next weekend, or basically I'm going home between now and the end of the month. At some point I will go home for a few days just to settle things, I guess you could say, with my situation living wise, but I'll get to that stuff in a little bit. So gas shortages, the photos I've been seeing of people with multiple fuel tanks, and I mean, like, I get it, there are people who obviously it's that time of the year to cut grass and whatnot so people get gas, but to see people just hoarding gas like 2020's toilet paper stuff, it was just ridiculous to see. It's ridiculous. But yeah, hopefully by the time I do need to get gas, things will have calmed down a little. I think like a day or so ago they said the pipeline, they got hacked somehow. They fixed that problem, so they're going to get things back on track, but it might be a little bit of time before gas is distributed again at the price that it was, a week or two ago. So that's my thoughts on that. Thankfully, I haven't needed gas, and if I do need to stop and get gas at some point, hopefully I'm able to find it, regardless of the price. Yeah, regardless of the price, gas is gas. The next thing, CDC mentioned that if you're fully vaccinated, then you can go pretty much without a mask in most places. Have I gotten vaccinated? No, not yet. Like I've said in a couple of live streams where I actually talk about it, I'm not advocating for or against the vaccination. I just know, as a person who rarely ventures out and whatnot, and anytime I do go out, I do wear a mask. Like, remember last year, my roommate had COVID in August, and we pretty much both did our own thing in regards to keeping clean. Like, obviously, thankfully we got separate rooms, but wearing gloves and, washing our hands. Like even now, like, I mean, I've always been a person like that to wash pants and all, but even now, I've doubled down on like the washing hands. Like anytime I go in the kitchen, like that was August when it happened, but even still, anytime I'm in the kitchen touching stuff, I instantly go wash my hands when I'm done. And well, then again, that's really not different from the norm. Like even before he had COVID, when I made my food and whatnot, I would sit it on my desk in my room, then go in the restroom, wash my hands and whatnot, because I was in the kitchen. It was pretty much, I've been practicing the same old, just wash my hands, Germ-X whenever, and I'm good. So for me personally, as someone who rarely ventures out and I wear my mask, I haven't gotten vaccinated yet. And even if I have gotten both shots by now, I would still wear my mask, just because there are a lot of people who probably haven't gotten the shot, and I don't really know how stores and other locations will be able to tell if you got it. Will you have to walk around with I believe you get a card if you've gotten the shot. So do you have to like flash your card like an ID, or almost like, and I hate to make the analogy, but like your free, your freedom papers, from slavery, newly free slaves had to carry those papers around. Do you have to carry it around and just say, hey, I've been vaccinated, so I cannot go without I can go without my mask, but even if I got in the shots, I would still wear the mask just because. And on a more silly note, I think it's because I'm not used to, I don't know what kind of faces I would make without my mask, because I'm so used to wearing the mask when I'm out that I can just make over exaggerated faces at certain things. Like, so I don't know if my face would cooperate without being in a mask when I'm in a store. So until I'm ready for that, I don't think I would do it. But, like I said, as someone who rarely ventures out, I just wear the mask to go in the store, come out, then I'm done. That's it. So it is what it is. Next thing, Chick-fil-A sauce shortages. What? I ain't going front. Like, I know there's a chicken shortage, like certain restaurants like Bojangles and whatnot. They have a limited amount of Supremes and other chicken items, and it kind of sucks. But the Chick-fil-A sauce, I mean, I could be wrong. I like me some Chick-fil-A, don't get me wrong, but I'm only a fan of the barbecue sauce. And I know that, what was it? Not even too long ago, they started selling sauce in stores. So, I mean, is there really a shortage, or are they telling people it's a shortage in order to get them to buy everything like gas and toilet paper? Like, again, I don't really know Chick-fil-A business like that, but little suspect there if you ask me. And, I've just recorded 5 other videos here about the Game reboot on Paramount Plus, the iCarly reboot coming next month to Paramount Plus. Blackish has been announced for its 8th and final season. Assisted Living, there were 2 new directors who will actually film seasons 2 and 3. And then finally next Tuesday, there's going to be a haves and have-nots special, which is pretty cool. Now, the reason I did this almost 10-minute kind of introduction, just going through a barrage of different topics, is because I really didn't want to get to this part of the video where I just talked about life stuff. And because truth be told, about a week ago, there was a live stream I did where I talked about the potential of, like, either quitting YouTube or at the very least taking this channel in a whole new direction. But that video, I never uploaded it. I pretty much just kept it, the audio file, didn't even edit it or anything. I'm just like, you know what, let me just put this on the back burner. Maybe it's just one of those things where I needed to vent. It's almost like those things where some therapists and whatnot will say like, oh, hey, just write an angry letter, but don't send it to the person. Just get all your thoughts out and then like crumble it and throw it in the trash or whatever. That was essentially what that video was, because I was frustrated as I don't know what. But I went through a couple things this week that just made me upset. And I'd say it's been about 36 hours in terms of when these things happen. But I'll tell you, just to put in perspective, thank the Lord, it wasn't like I was in some sort of accident or anything like that, but just life stuff in general. And no, I'm not talking to anyone, so it's not like a girl broke my heart. Just to put that out there, no, it's nothing like that. But first thing, this went down on Thursday, because you know how sometimes I'll mention like, okay, yeah, here are the things on my to-do list I gotta get done around here. I got a second pair of glasses from the eye doctor last week. Pretty much my OG pair, which I only really wear almost at like a placebo when I'm driving, just because I'm accustomed to driving with glasses on now. I'll wear those when I'm driving, which is rare since I rarely go out myself unless it's Uber. That's different because somebody else is driving. And I just said, you know what? Let me get an extra pair of glasses just as a precaution. So if anything happens to my glasses, I have a backup here. And that's all it was. So, I took care of that. And before that, I went to the dentist, and my teeth are good. Thank the Lord for that. I just needed them to redo a filling because it was free since they redid it. And the last thing on my list was the physical, and I've been putting that off. Like I kept saying I was going to do it, but I kept getting text messages from my insurance, Virginia Premier. Thumbs up if you got Virginia Premier. And they were like, hey, you aren't really utilizing all of your benefits. And I was looking like, yeah, everything. I'm pretty good. But they're like, yeah, you can get a free physical. And they were like, kept texting me. It's like, hey, you can even get a free ride to your physical. And as somebody who prefers, to be driven sometimes, like, okay. But I went ahead and called the number, to get the information for the physical. I'm like, hey, I keep getting these text messages. And the thing about Virginia Premier is like, I go to your website, I got the pamphlet you all sent me, but it doesn't really help me out, or at the very least, I can't properly maneuver around the website and whatnot to sort out, okay, what dentist, what eye doctors, what hospitals, what takes my insurance, as opposed to me having to call multiple places. And the first thing I say is, hey, do you accept? And then they say no. So they basically help me out. And it's like, there's a phone number and there's a doctor's name on your card. But then also two popular areas or two popular companies, health offices, Med Express Care, or what is it? Yeah. Med Express and Patient First. Let me see if I get those names right real quick. Just bear with me. Yeah, Med Express and Patient First. They accept Virginia Premier. And based off what you're telling me, you just want to take a regular physical. Yeah, I just want to do a physical checkup, and that's pretty much it. So I got off the phone with them, and I'm like, okay, turns out both of those offices are actually on my street. Timberlake Road, they got the Med Express, and then they got the Patient First. So I decided to call Med Express because that was the first number they gave me. They recommended that first above anything else. And I said, hey, is there a way I can schedule an appointment for next week? I'm trying to get a physical. And they were like, oh, for us, you really don't even need an appointment. You can just walk in. I'm like, wait, really? Yeah. I'm like, okay, so it's like 4:30 right now because my sleeping pattern has been off. So I actually woke up at like 4 o'clock and I called them around 4:15, 4:20 because I had a mini to-do list. And I explained the situation. I'm like, yeah, you all accept Virginia Premier, right? And they're like, yeah, that's right. Okay, that's great. I called them first. So basically, I'm just trying to get a standard physical. That's all I need. And my insurance, it said it will cover it. So if you're saying that you're open until 8 p.m. and if I come by like 6 o'clock, all I gotta do is walk in. It's like, yep, that's it. I'm like, okay, I'm looking at your website now. It just says to wear a face mask and you'll take my temperature and that's pretty much it, correct? Yep, that's right. Okay, well, let me shower, change clothes, and I will be up there within the next hour or less. So I showered and whatnot, and with the whole gas shortage thing, I actually opted to Uber. I know that sounds lazy because this place is not even 7 minutes up the street, but I figured, you know what? Might as well Uber because even though it's not going to burn a lot of gas, I'd rather not use my car unless I really need to, because in the event I eventually need to get gas, I want to make sure that gas is available as opposed to me being dumbfounded when there's no gas in sight. So I figured I'd just Uber. I caught a ride there. Nice dude drove me there. We had a nice chat for the 7 minutes I was in the car. Got out, thanked him, and that was the end of that. So he drops me off, I'm going in the parking lot to go to the door, and I see like a sign on the door that says something along like, call service. And I'm like, I wonder what that's about. So I walk in and, it's a nice little spacious building. Ironically enough, the building was actually built where a Starbucks used to be because a tornado a couple years ago, I think around 2019, if I'm not mistaken, or 2018, there was a big tornado right up the street from here. I think I did a video on that, just the storm itself. And it touched down. It actually destroyed the Starbucks in the adjacent building to it. So they actually rebuilt it, but it's a medical center now. And it's a pretty nice, spacious area. I want to say there was probably like 3 other people in the, waiting area. There were plenty of space, so everybody was spread out. So there was a guy at the counter, and, I waited in line behind him. Of course, the sticker that said, hey, please stand here, so they're 6 feet. So as soon as he's done, I actually walk up to the window after they called me up, and then I just said, "Oh, hi, I'm JeremyCarden. I just called. I'm here to get a physical." Because again, walk in and that's it. And this is the thing that gets me. One of my pet peeves is to be made to look a fool, or you talk down to me. Yeah, did you do a call service? I'm like, ma'am, yeah, from your car. Excuse me, I really don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, the policy we have is like, you show up and you call from your car and then we let you in. I guess like, because I know how some stores, like at the dentist office, a few months ago, it was like you made your appointment and whatnot. And when you got to the dentist office, you would stand outside the door on the sidewalk, and then like the receptionist had a table, in the entrance area. So she would come out of the door, take your temperature, and let you in. But when I went to the dentist a couple weeks ago, they had changed the protocol where, yeah, you can come in the front door, just wait at the receptionist's desk right there. She take your temperature, you tell her what your name and appointment was, and you just go into a waiting area. But in this situation, apparently you had to call from your car, and then they would say, okay, come up to the front door. Then they would check your temperature and let you come in. Go back to that phone call I told you I had. They just said, bring your mask and your insurance card and you'll be good. No, and I literally asked the woman, so what's your COVID protocol? Never once was there car service or car call, because I said, ma'am, I wasn't told anything about that. I actually just Ubered here and got dropped off, so there was no way for me to call. I don't know what you're talking about. So after 2 or 3 minutes of going back and forth on that, I explained, look, I'm just here to get a physical. I was told this was walk-in. What kind of physical? And this was the living embodiment of the meme where it's like, adult me, it's like, what is it, when your mom's on the phone making you an appointment to the doctor, and it's like adult me in the background. That's exactly what it felt like. I'm just like, are there different kinds of physicals? I'm just here for like a standard physical checkup. We don't do those, ma'am. Yeah, we don't. This is an emergency place where you just come in here and there's a Med Express. We're just like an emergency service. There's something wrong with you in the moment. I'm standing there like, what the I didn't say this, but it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I literally called not even 20 minutes ago, and I spoke with somebody on the phone. He said, and I got my insurance card, Virginia Premier, you accept that? They said it was walk in and get a physical. She handed me like a pamphlet with like a crap ton of medical places. Oh, here's a bunch of medical offices and phone numbers that do physicals. I'm like, okay. So I go and sit down because I'm heated, because I'm like, I got up, rushed to get ready, wasted money to get a ride. Thank God I didn't drive myself, or I'd be more frustrated because I would have burnt my gas and had to fight the traffic, because mind you, this was before 5 o'clock. So, you got people getting off of work and everything. And it took me a while to even connect my damn phone to the Wi-Fi in their office. That way I can get me a ride back. So eventually I finally got an Uber ride. They were about 7 minutes away. So I just like, okay, let me just wait here until it's like 2 minutes and I'll go stand outside. So I want to say about 3 to 4 minutes before my ride got there, I got called to the desk. This time it was from the woman on the phone. She was like, hey, I was the one that talked to you on the phone, and I'm sorry I didn't explain things fully, but basically we don't do regular physicals. But she handed me a sheet. She's like, oh, here's a basic physical we can actually do. This is the most basic standard protocol we have, but your insurance won't cover it, and it's $88. I'm like, yeah, I don't have $88. So okay, mind you, I did have the money if I would have dipped into my savings, but at this point I was already pissed off. I was pretty much misinformed about the procedure of the physical, what is and wasn't accepted, as well as the COVID procedure. So when I'm at the desk going back and forth with that woman about the car call thing, I'm looking like, everybody looking at me like I'm the ignorant one. Mind you, I was the only black person in the place. So I'm like, oh shit, here we go. And then it's like, you wasted my time and you made me waste money. And here's the thing, since my ride was a couple minutes off, a couple of minutes from the parking lot, it's like, if I would have canceled that ride, I would have had to pay a major fee. Because mind you, this place, like I said, is only a few minutes from my apartment. So it was about, about $10. And then of course I tipped the driver. So round trip would have been like $30. So I essentially wasted $30 on this damn nonsense. And I just gave her the form back and like, I'm good, whatever. So I just leave. And then I left, I tweeted about it. If you follow me on Twitter, then now you know what that MedExpress tweet was. And they actually responded. And we DM'd each other. They were like, hey, tell us the situation and whatnot. And I did a very lengthy explanation. And I even went to the website and did the same thing on the feedback form. I haven't heard anything yet, but maybe I'll hear something back next week. But as someone who worked in customer service for 3 years in the call center, one of the biggest things was doing your best to avoid misinformation. And on top of that, if you do, rectifying it as soon as possible. So my biggest thing was not only did I waste time, energy, and effort, but I wasted money paying for a round trip to the damn office for nothing. So hopefully I'll give you an update if that ever, if there's a part 2 to the story, but it's just, and I respect people in the medical profession, especially in the times we live in now, but that was completely uncalled for, because it's like they say, when something's too good to be true, it usually is. Hence why I asked for clarification over the phone about the whole situation about being a walk-in medical center. I'm like, just for a basic physical? And she kept telling me yes, because like I said, I kept saying, okay, what's the protocol and everything? Okay, just bring my insurance card, wear a mask, I'm good. Because I thought this is great. It's like I could just hop in an Uber, get this physical, and that's the last major thing I needed to do on my to-do list. So now, screw it. It ain't happening. All right, so now we move to the house stuff, which is the second big thing. Now, as you know, I'm just having issues with the whole situation. Being self-employed means there's more hurdles for me to climb when it comes to getting approved for a mortgage. And my biggest thing is that these companies look at the last 2 years of taxes, and basically due to all my write-offs and deductibles, it makes it look like I don't make any money. I think one person was like, yeah, after we looked at your taxes, it looks like you only, according to your taxes, it's like you only make $750 a month, which isn't enough to apply for, be approved. And I'm like, that's crazy considering I make a couple thousand per week on eBay alone. That's not even counting YouTube. But it's like, yeah, it's just being self-employed, because just to put in perspective, and not to put my business out there, but just to put in perspective, my 2020 taxes before write-offs and deductibles, which is why I keep up not only with all my receipts, but also a detailed Excel sheet with proof of all my money that goes towards things like bubble wrap, tape, envelopes, stamps, new equipment for the YouTube. Like, last year I had to get a new phone, laptop, microphone, a lot of updates because, with the pandemic and the fact that I cranked out more material than usual, I had to upgrade my software and other equipment. So just all this miscellaneous stuff, plus being self-employed, being that, I had to buy stuff for the apartment, which is where I work. Just a long list of stuff, organized stuff. Plus I had a tax advisor. So I made sure everything I did was legal and on the books. I would have owed Uncle Sam over $20,000 before deductibles came in and knocked that $20,000 down to about $1,200. That's what I owed. So to have these people look at the taxes, not to mention, it's like, well, here are my bank statements and whatnot. It's like, look, I made over 30 grand in the first 3 months of 2021 on eBay alone, and you're telling me I'm not applicable for a mortgage. So after 74 different mortgage companies said no, whether it be because, oh, we don't fund modular or manufactured homes, or we fund manufactured homes, but for whatever reason, it's a strange thing where, we only fund homes once they've been attached to the land or something with concrete. I'm like, how does that even work? Like, I won't even get the house until I'm approved for loans. And then, of course, the third one being the whole tax situation. And to be completely honest, it looks like the tax situation will give me a no at any place. And that's what I was told from the beginning. But of course, when I was in a panic state, I couldn't just sit here and do nothing. So the alternative was this one company, I forgot the name of off the top of my head. What is it called? Like home credit for, home loans or credit dispute my credit. And basically, after speaking with them for like a week, because I was trying to look at every other option before I, decided to pay them, they pretty much looked at my credit, which is a good score. It's not fair. It's not excellent. It's good. And they were like, oh, we can pretty much, my student loans are the only debt I have. And they were like, oh, there's some like 4 missed payments from early on when you had the loans. And we can actually audit those to have those removed to make your credit look good, because our company has worked with over like 24,000 different, uh, mortgage companies and whatnot, especially those who are self-employed like yourself. This should be able to help you get approved for a loan. I'm like, well, here's the thing though. It's not my credit that's the problem. It's my taxes and slash income, the profit and loss. So how will getting my credit right help me out with that? So they pretty much explained yada, yada, yada. And I did ask a couple other people to help, who actually are realtors. And they said that, yeah, getting the audit is pretty much the only other option you have. So I paid the express version of it, which will be about 45 to 60 days. So give or take, next month, either mid-June or right before I have to leave on June 30th, is when this process should theoretically be done. So it was $1,200 to get it expedited. Or, well, honestly, I could have done a payment plan, but I'm like, let me pay it at once. That way, I can go through the process immediately, because the quicker you pay, the more they would do in terms of the faster they can process it. And the thing is, if you go back to my experience with Clayton Homes, they had that company Vanderbilt, which was the mortgage finance company. Because remember in the news, I signed for a house back in January, but then after 2 upgrades, if you will, to different houses, I finally decided on one. But then Vanderbilt was dragging their damn feet, because it was a he said, she said thing. Basically, Clayton said I need to submit more paperwork. Then Vanderbilt said they never got it. And then I called them, and then the dude on the phone explained to me in less than 30 minutes why I couldn't get the loan. And I'm like, okay. So then I called Clayton, and they just kind of cut me off. They went from being friendly and helpful to saying, oh yeah, we're just going to give you the money back, which to this day, this was back in like March when they dropped the bomb, or early April. I forget which one, but basically they explained, oh yeah, well, you didn't get approved for the loan, so there's no need of us to continue taking your money. So basically it's like, you took my $1,500, which I was going to give them an extra $5. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm making this money now. I'm, killing it on eBay. I'm going to call, put a few more thousand down by the end of the month. And they basically like, oh yeah, there's no need of doing that. Call us back in a couple of years when your taxes look good. I'm like, motherfucker, if my taxes get better, I'm not going to buy a house from you. By then I'll hopefully God will provide me with a house. So, oh yeah, well, the check that was sent actually had your last name spelled wrong, so we need to send it back. It'll take 2 weeks. This was over a month and a half ago, and I still don't have my damn money. So that's $1,500 right there that I'm still waiting on. Mind you, I paid $1,200 for these credit people to audit my loan. So after, doing some more research, because the agent I spoke with, the credit auditor, she pretty much broke it down, and she's like, hey, I know you're worried, you're on a deadline, you're on a timetable, but we're going to work to get this right, because we've been working with people in your situation. And I get it. I get it. Like, when you're a company, but be in my shoes, it's really hard to, I'm a proactive person, so I can't just sit around and do nothing, because even when I've done everything I can, it just stinks to just sit around waiting. And I know it's almost like the God analogy. It's like, as a person, I've done all I can, but then you got to leave the rest to God. But when you're on a timetable and you have to get your stuff moved out and get your living situation right, it just sucks. I feel like in this situation, because obviously it's man's hands, not God's hands, looking at the credit because of the company. And the fact that there have been so many companies that have told me no, people have stabbed me in the back from these companies. So to actually have it's hard to really believe in what they do when I've had these companies back in January say, oh yeah, we'll take care of you, but now they just kick you out. So I emailed the woman. I'm just like, oh yeah, I was looking at the money back guarantee, the whole situation, because I'm like, you say you'll get my credit right and all, which again isn't really the problem I'm having. But in the off chance, the credit stuff is done, because they keep saying we're going to raise it above 620. I'm like, my credit is almost at 700. It's not at 620, and I haven't gotten a response yet, but I probably text her myself. I should have done that from the beginning to the email. So I ended up calling, and this is the thing when dealing with these companies, it's always, and I should have learned this from my own time in the call center, it's always best to work with the same person. But I actually called them yesterday just to get, clarification on the money back guarantee. I'm like, okay, I get the point. I paid the money. I looked at the contract, and the money back guarantee is like, if this credit stuff goes through with the audit, and you help me look, you pretty much, you're kind of like the middleman looking at these mortgage companies for me. What if you just can't do it? What if it doesn't work out? What if a mortgage company doesn't say yes for me? Can I get my money back through the guarantee? This woman said, oh, actually, one of our credit loan officers would be the best person to talk with. But what I can do is I can give you a call back or email or voicemail. And I asked for all three, any off chance I don't get your phone call because I'm busy. Could you email me? She's like, yeah, and I leave a voicemail. So let me go talk with one of our main offices. I'll get an answer. Call you right back. I'm like, okay, that sounds good. Because she was just a customer representative. And that's fine. I understand that. So when she called back, she pretty much explained, well, yeah, and this is the part that always gets me with these kind of companies. Well, see, the thing is, our duty is to get your credit up, to audit any kind of late payments and everything. And after that, we've pretty much done our job. And I'm like, so basically you're saying that if you can't get me a mortgage approval, that means my $1,200 isn't coming back. Yes, I hung up the damn phone. So I'm like, God, if this doesn't work, I don't know what else. First of all, this damn Clayton Home company took my 15 grand, which they're dragging their damn feet, giving me back. Now the $1,200 I put towards this company to audit my loans, the student loans, to get these late payments removed, from there, again, I will contact the representative I've been working with because, it's like, oh yeah, we'll work to get these mortgage companies because, it's like, so what? Are you telling me that you're only going to work on my credit and not connect me with a mortgage company or what? I mean, there's a missing transaction here because I'm looking at almost $3,000 just gone, or at the very least, one party isn't going to give me the $1,500 for like, I don't know how long. And then the other party will just keep my $1,200 because they've done what the contract said. I'm losing my damn mind. I just don't know what to do at this point. It's just ridiculous how I work so hard, help so many people, but then the one time not even a handout, it's like I'm asking you for money to borrow. I can't catch a break. I got a month and like 15 days, and then that's the end of that. Time to move. I don't want to go back home. I want to be transparent with you. Had a family fallout not too long ago, back in March. The end of the day. You ever watch Fences, that movie Fences? How come you don't like me? Picture something like that, but it got really nasty. But basically, he went off on me. I kept my cool. I came back here. My mom talked him down. He called me back and apologized. I want to be real. I don't have the best relationship with my dad. I want to be completely honest with you. So at the same time, it's like, I don't want to be under the same roof. And I know it sounds, well, Jeremy, aren't you supposed to be moving your house down there? Yeah, but that's different circumstances. It's different to be in my own house as opposed to living in the same roof where you got to walk on eggshells not to piss them off. But to be honest, even more transparency, I've been in therapy the past couple months. First time in my life, I actually virtual therapy due to the pandemic. And thank God I've done it. It's been very refreshing. It reminds me of Hannah on the Haves and the Have-Nots, where Benny, after learning about the whole Derek and the raping thing, is like, yeah, when he gets the money, I want to get you a therapist and whatnot. You're going to go to counseling. It's like, well, I got Jesus. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not downplaying, because I'm a Christian and everything. But at the same time, sometimes it's good to just talk with somebody, because I've been journaling for years now. I'm going to be real. My faith has been weak over the past few months. I'm not going to lie. Please don't get it twisted. I'm not a non-believer or anything. My faith just had. I don't feel like I've been having God in my corner. I feel like I've been alone for so long. That's what it feels like. It feels like everything I touch just keeps falling apart. That's honestly what my life has been feeling like. And even going back last month on the way back from home, not after things had patched up, if you will, with the parental figures. I remember that Sunday I'd come back. It was, what was it, Easter Sunday or the day after Easter? I forgot which one, because I was at home for a few days. And there was a car that literally pulled out of the intersection. When I tell you, if I hadn't hit my brake when I did, less than an inch from a collision, because they literally cut me off instead of letting me go through the intersection, to clear the way of traffic. Because anytime there's an incident like that on the road, I automatically go online and I look at like videos and traffic laws and make sure I was in the right, and it turns out I was, obviously. So that kind of spooked me, because you remember that deer incident? I almost got like PTSD after that. Because there have been a couple of times I almost died, not by my own fault, back in 2017 when I was on my way home. When I tell you I wasn't even 60 seconds away from the driveway, the neighbors, they did the same thing. I was coming through an intersection, and instead of letting me clear the intersection, they didn't see me for whatever reason, and they decided to turn. They hit the passenger side. Well, no, they hit the back seat of the driver's side of the car. I almost hit the pole, but thankfully I maneuvered my car. So I wasn't injured, but at the same time, you know, when you look back, it's like, oh shit, I almost died. So that was God intervening right there. So it just feels like things have just been falling apart for me, when it just seems like I could be winning in so many areas. Okay, yeah, I got a good channel, I'm making good eBay money, but oh no, I'm being slapped down because I can't get approved for a loan. And the worst part about that is, you know, everything seemed so great in January, where it was like, okay, great, you know, this is a new chapter in life, I'm going to be a homeowner. And then after weeks and months of just, you know, oh yeah, we got you, don't worry, we're finalizing paperwork, to, oh yeah, you can't get a house. So it's like, oh shit. So now I'm just so worried because I'm about to be in a situation I don't want to be in, stuck at home, going to have to get a storage unit in my hometown to move all my stuff in until things get figured out. And this audit, because my mom, she was like, I don't know, I keep calling my mom. Ain't no need to call in all these places because they just want to look at my taxes and say the same thing. It sucks, but this audit is the only trick I have up my sleeve. Basically, I paid this $1,200. They said they can figure out a mortgage situation for me. And, you know, maybe worst case scenario, I'm at home for close to a month. But at that time, they can get the stuff worked out. I can get approved for a house. And then I can go from there. I can tolerate being home that long. But now it looks like, oh, well, if it doesn't work out, then you're not going to get a mortgage and you're not going to get your money back. So this is not a good time for me. Like, part of me really does. I did really want to go home this weekend, but I figured it's probably not the best move. You know, I need to just focus on getting this eBay stuff ready to mail off and use this weekend to regroup, because it's next week with no shows to review. This could be a nice little break to kind of unwind. I have been enjoying my Switch. I actually bought a few new games. What was it? Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. I actually beat the story mode and I paid $40 to get all the DLC content. And it's fun. I'm actually glad I invested in a Switch because it's been a nice way to take a break from the nonstop working. And then when I get back to the zone of work, I don't feel as burnt out because I've taken time to have some fun. You know what is, I got Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, Pokemon Sword, and then the other two games I bought that I haven't played yet are Let's Go Eevee and what's the other game? Because I actually have them right here. Oh, Dragon Ball Z Fighter. So yeah, I haven't played those two yet, but I'll probably get to them later this week. So that's pretty much my current situation now. It's just like, yeah, from so many people saying, oh, it's going to be okay, it's going to work out, you know, from the person at the Med Express place to that falling apart, and then, you know, the housing place and that falling apart, and home stuff falling apart. But, you know, it's relatively calm now. And keep in mind that when it came to the family fallout, it wasn't anything like dramatic, like, you know, guys that got arrested or coming out of the closet or I cursed somebody out. It wasn't like that, you know. I mean, I'm kind of boring, to be honest. You know, I've always been like the quote unquote good kid. You know, my sister, she's the rebel, if you will. I'm just a regular guy. I just don't smoke, don't drink. I'm not into cars or sports. Never really had girls interested in me, so I've been single for most of my life. So yeah, trust and believe, I'm not trying to offend anybody who smokes, drinks, or happens to be part of the LGBTQ community. When I say out of the closet, it means like, you know, well, that, because that's kind of a big deal down in where I live in Virginia, because it's quote unquote not unlike Tom Jones. It's not unusual, but you know, it's kind of a big thing. It just reminds me of those movies, black or white movies, where it's like the holiday season and at the dinner table, that's when shit comes out of cat flies out of the bag. Somebody shows up to the family function with a white girl, or a boyfriend when last year they had a girlfriend. I'm just chill. Don't worry about it. I'm boring. I'm just a regular guy. That's it. Just regular, boring person. But the question was, my dad was like, oh yeah, I'm going to stay, the first night when you get to the house. And the thing was, when I was a kid, there was a boy from down at the part of the county where my dad is from. And basically, as a kid, like I am now, I was just a bookworm, but pretty much, my dad, like, I just hate being compared to other people. He was the thing is like, why can't you be like him? This guy, because he was into sports and everything while I was into Power Rangers and doing math equations. So basically, when I look at it now, because as a kid, when your parents or adult figures say or do certain things to you, that pretty much sticks with you. What's that movie, Talladega Nights, right? Ricky Bobby, he was like, his dad was like, if you aren't first, you're last. And that was his whole credo in life, to be the fastest, to be first. So for me, it was like, oh yeah, why don't you get your other son, so-and-so? Because he kept mentioning, I'm the only son. I'm the youngest child. I have an older sister and then a older half sister who's the oldest. And basically, he doesn't remember this stuff where I do, because, even though I was a kid. So my dad has a short fuse. So he kept getting mad because I guess in his brain, I guess he thought that I was saying he had an outside child, which to my knowledge, given that he was acting so mad, who knows? But basically, I was like, wow, why are you talking to me? Like, basically cursing me out. I was chilling, like, so why aren't you talking to me like a normal person? So I wasn't having that shit, so I got up and left. And I came back to my apartment. Then my mom explained, and then he called me back the next day to apologize. I'm going to be even more transparent. I'm like, you know what? Hey, I know people who study law. I'm pretty much sure I can file for abuse if I wanted to. I felt like Gail trying to get emancipated from the family on the Oval. Similar situation to that. I'm like, I don't care because he's always been like that. But I'm an adult and I'm not going to tolerate it. Because when I was getting packing my stuff, he was like, oh, so you think you're a man now? I'm thinking, nigga, I'm 29. So yeah, so when he called and apologized, I'm like, okay, cool. So then I explained, it's just like when you say that kind of stuff, it's hard for me to communicate my feelings. So when I said it hurts, like, when I was a kid, you would just say, do this, do that, as opposed to, and again, not coming out of the closet. I'm just talking to you all to express how I feel. It wasn't like I wasn't doing anything big like that. I was pretty much opening my heart. As corny as it sounds to say, I wish you would have accepted me for being just the guy that read books and everything. He rushed me off the phone and I had a panic attack. I had to go to the hospital because as a person who keeps stuff bottled up, I rarely express my real emotions. So when I was doing that and he literally rushed off the phone and hung up, I couldn't take it. So I literally had a nervous breakdown and had to go to the hospital. Hence why I started doing therapy. So that's pretty much what was happening there. So then I called my mom to let her know, went to the hospital. He called me 3 days in a row. And pretty much his whole thing was like, hey, just calm down and everything. And I'm thinking to myself, well, first of all, the first thing you never want to tell somebody that had a nervous breakdown. But in my mind, I realized this was the best I could ever get. This is the most I can get for him being like, oh, I actually care. Like, get it together. You get in the house and everything. Just, get your head on right. And I'm thinking to myself, well, in reality, you're the one that caused the panic attack. But I'll let it slide. I just took it for what it was. I answered the phone the next couple of days when he called. I'm like, hey, I'm going to be okay. They just gave me some headache medicine. They're like, you're going to be good. Just the blood pressure up and everything. Just remember to breathe, focus, don't stress out. You'll be good. So that's pretty much what happened back in like, what was this, like mid to late March. So that's why I've been pretty, depressed since then. So yeah, that's pretty much where the life stuff is right now. Just got screwed over by MedExpress, the insurance place. Freaking house stuff. Like I said, I'm going to contact the credit officer I've been in contact with since I paid the $1,200, because I get it. Like, the person you work with is going to be as helpful as possible. But because I remember, again, working in customer service, there are those who go above and beyond versus those who just follow company policy. Like, they'll just take your money and then that's it. Versus those who who give you that reassurance. And it's just like the house place, Matt. He was the one that showed me around the houses. He was the point of contact. But then it was somebody else who was like, oh yeah, we're not going to take any more of your money. You're not going to get the house. That's it. So between the house stuff, family stuff, and whatnot, I just been going through some shit. That's pretty much life stuff in general. And I thought this video would be over, but let's focus on the channel now, because I've been feeling down about that. I know last year I did a pretty lengthy video going into detail about how, how I appreciate where I am. Like, I understand that I haven't gotten the Tyler Perry Studios invite. I haven't gotten free stuff, bless the cast members. Like, I'm never going to be unappreciative of that. The cast members, some of them, I think I showed you last year, one of them sent me a t-shirt and hat from Tyler Perry Studios. Not the right shirt size, but I'm like, I want to get this sucker framed. I didn't get it done yet. I was actually going to do that once I got the house, because in the room that I would have strictly for YouTube, I'd put it on the wall, as that way it would be in the background when I did my content. But, I was just looking at my YouTube counterparts, some of the YouTubers I watch, the ones who cover, different genres like the Marvel, the superhero stuff, anime, just to name a couple things off the top of my head, not to mention those who do music and just pop culture and stuff in general. And, these individuals get sponsorships, they get free packages and free merch from the companies, the shows, the production companies and whatnot they talk about and, just do content on. And I was just thinking, man, I wish I can get some of that stuff. And in the video I did last year, I talked about how, and of course, Ashley Miller being like I always tip my hat to her, because in my mind, and I could be wrong, but she's like the OG haves and have-nots, or just in general Tyler Perry or drama content creator. Like, her channel definitely is, next level. Of course I get praise for the way I break down stuff, but the diversity in which she covers stuff, like the various shows and stuff she does, like, just, again, hats off. Not to mention just not shows, but popular movies, as well as different events like award shows and whatnot. Like, she is key for getting stuff out quick, fast, in a hurry, and just has a wide variety of genres. So in any case, her famous trip to Tyler Perry Studios, I remember catching that video. I remember the first time I watched it, I couldn't get past the first 5 minutes, because this was at a time where I was feeling undervalued, because I never got that props. In a weird way, it's almost as if Tyler Perry was my dad, in the sense like, okay, dang, how come I'm never getting props for the things I've done, while other people are getting the accolades and whatnot. So I did the video where it's like, what, I'm cool. I got 100,000 people. I got a great following. The cast members, I talk with them. It's all good. But I guess in conjunction with seeing YouTube counterparts getting, invites and free stuff, and then on top of the whole house situation and just life in general, I've just been, and then the reality of, the haves and the have-nots is coming to a close here. I was just thinking maybe it's time to go in a different direction, because, I'm not begging for anybody's attention or anything, but, with the years I've put in reviewing these shows and doing this content, it just feels like I feel undervalued. It's like those artists who, have never won a Grammy, even though they've been in the music biz for like decades, and, they've had #1 hits, but they're always overlooked during the award ceremony. That's almost, I feel in the same way where it comes to me reviewing these shows, specifically the haves and the have-nots, but as well as these other newer Tyler Perry shows that some people have said in the comments. It's like, more often than not, I'd rather tune into your reviews and your commentary than the actual shows, because you have more interesting things to say than the shows themselves. And assisted living, or House of Pain, or Ruthless, or just in general. So to actually hear that, and then of course even a bunch of the cast have hit me up just saying, hey, we value your opinion. But then when like the man himself doesn't really kind of speak up, it makes you feel like, well, damn, what's really the point? I never gotten that Tyler Perry Studios invite. Mind you, I know about the pandemic and whatnot, but even before that, it's like, the Tyler Perry Studios invite or some sort of premiere event, or even, just saying, hey, thanks, man, I appreciate the stuff you do. It just feels like, well, damn, what's really the point? And it's like, again, I've never, ventured into YouTube for the sake of getting attention from Tyler Perry Studios. Remember, my OG initiative was to create a bigger following than what I had on the blog, which thank goodness I did. And even look at the Sisters Facebook group alone, which has over 200,000 members, which has, surpassed that of the subscriber count on this YouTube channel. But I don't know. I just been feeling so frustrated lately that it feels like it doesn't really matter. Should I just quit the Tyler Perry stuff in general? Like, as soon as I want to keep riding the haves and have-nots train until the end of the line. Don't worry about that. It's just that with the stress of the whole house situation, because next month is going to be hell. It really is. Between a crap ton of shows coming back the last week of May and then early in June, because the 25th, we got House of Pain Assisted Living. The 27th, we got Bruh. Those shows aren't that bad in the sense that they're only 20-something minutes a pop. So, I could easily whip together reviews and whatnot for them. But then, the following week, the Haves and Have-Nots comes on June 1st. And then the following week after that, you got Sisters coming back on the 9th. So, mind you, that's going to be almost half a dozen shows. And it's not too much to do. I mean, yeah, obviously when it comes to Sisters and the Haves and the Have-Nots, those shows will warrant far more attention than the other three. But keep in mind that I'm a person that I'm like a to-do list, goal-oriented person. I like to have things mapped out. So with the uncertainty of these major events in regards to like my living situation, not to mention where I'm going to be able to put all my stuff, it's going to be difficult to maneuver around that. Because like I said before, time and time again, when it comes to my living arrangements, if I do have to go back home until things get figured out over the next month or two, things will be completely different. Like the Wi-Fi, HughesNet has gotten better. They've gotten some more towers down there, but the problem is nephew, sister, mom, dad, tablets, smart TVs, laptops, phones, gaming devices, they all burn through the Wi-Fi down. Like HughesNet isn't like Xfinity, or at least not the package I have with the HughesNet down there, where there's a limited amount of how much you can download per day, as opposed to Xfinity, which is like pretty much limitless. So watching, my nephew watching a couple episodes of this, or my mom watching a movie, or my dad watching, racing videos, because he does, what do they call it, the racetrack drag strip or whatever, he does that stuff. That burns through all the download time, meaning that I won't be able to live stream, because without a reliable Wi-Fi amount of download and whatnot, I can't do any sort of live streams, which sucks, because with the haves and the have-nots being in their final stretch, I was going to do my, live watch, and I'll tweet, which I can still watch the episode obviously and tweet, but I was going to hop on my live stream right after the episode. And then of course on the next day, Wednesday, I'd have my review up. I can't do that. No more live streams or anything. Instagram, Zoom, YouTube, because the Wi-Fi won't be strong enough, because there's going to be too many people under the same roof. Now with the new house, obviously I'd be on another part of the land, and I would most likely either get either a HughesNet for my house, or I would just take the Xfinity equipment I have here at the apartment, which I've had since my first apartment back in 2014, and just hook it up in a new house. And I'll be like, I'll have my own signal, my own password, so the Wi-Fi would only be for me, meaning that I would be even in a better position than even in the apartment, and it's just me and my roommate. So it will just be me in the house, and I'd have all that Wi-Fi to myself. And with the room dedicated solely to YouTube, I would do way more live streams, way more cast interviews, because I would have a legit setup. But without the house, I can't do that, because trust and believe, with my current situation, I guess all I will be able to do is just, probably have a bag or two with some, clothes in it, my laptop and mic, and maybe my switch from my room back at home, and that's it, because the room at home is so damn small. All I have is a twin bed, a small desk, and then a TV shelf. I kid you not. Hence why I really like the setup in my apartment here, in my last apartment, where I had the master bedroom, way more space, so I could do more stuff. I can't do that. Even when it comes to the eBay, I can only do trading card sales because trading cards take up a lot less space, and I can just use envelopes and whatnot. But the most important reason I hate being at home is like, I come from a family of smokers. I feel like that's one reason I don't smoke by personal choice, because both parents smoke and the whole house smells like smoke. So anything I carry in the house will smell like cigarette smoke. So that's another reason why I'm very wary about going home. So, yeah, life has been pretty rough because nothing has been looking up right now. And to be honest, with everybody saying, oh, have faith, it's going to be good, I just haven't really been seeing too much of God in my current situation. I know that's bad to say, but that's honestly what it feels like. It feels like I'm crying out for help, but nobody's responding. I'm crying out for a loan. It's like, look, I have my bank statements. I have my monthly amounts of how much I'm making on YouTube and eBay, but apparently that's not enough. Well, I paid for this service to help me get a mortgage, and now they're telling me, oh, if we don't get it, then you're not getting your money back. I put money down on the house, which y'all said I was going to get for months, but then all of a sudden, oh, you're not getting it, and now you're dragging your feet getting your money back. Oh, I called this place about getting a physical, and then I paid to show up via Uber, and now you're telling me, oh, you can't get a physical. So it just feels like so many doors have been slammed in my face that it doesn't seem like there's anything else in the hallway for me to open a knob on. It's like I'm in a never-ending hallway with all these doors slamming in my face, and I don't see another door that says open. That's literally what's going on right now. So yeah, over this weekend, like I said, I'm going to take it slow. I'm about a third of the way done with this eBay stuff. Like I said, I was going to get it all done last night, but I'm like, dude, there's no reason to kill yourself. The stuff ended auction Thursday. You got everything organized on Friday. So just use this weekend to slow down, get your mind right. And at some point, you can go ahead and get all this stuff packed up. That way on Monday, you can have it mailed off. And then next week will just be an empty week. You can just kind of get yourself together and then probably go home next week. And because I said there was really no need of going home aside from kind of, getting out of my room for a little while. But even so, I do have some phone numbers. I did some research. I found about 5 different storage locations back in my hometown. I'll call and compare and contrast prices. And, some of them actually have U-Hauls, because there's actually a U-Haul right down the street from my apartment. Like I was going to say, okay, I'll just, because I looked at the prices for them back in January. I'm like, okay, I can afford this because I got everything for the most part boxed up, so I can have this stuff on the truck and have it moved to the house. But in this case, it's going to be okay. It's going to be sent to a storage unit until I can figure stuff out. I'm going to be like damn, I done forgot his name. Jacob on Jacob on a Greenleaf, where he goes to the storage unit where his Uncle Matt's stuff was, and he was looking through the stuff. That's literally going to be me, where all my stuff is going to be sent until I can figure something out. But I know some people are like, oh, why don't you just get an apartment back at home and everything? It's like, it's probably what I'm going to have to resort to, but I don't want to do that. And it's not because I'm above an apartment and whatnot. I'm just ready to kind of get the house. Like, part of me does try to look at the God thing. Okay, well, what if this is God saying don't go back home, go somewhere else? But here's the thing, there's been no direction of, oh, instead of moving back home, you should go there. There's been no big thing that's been telling me to go somewhere else. So I don't know, could that be because I haven't gotten that call from Georgia yet? Oh, come on down to Georgia, Tyler Perry. Well, nothing of the sort has happened yet. So yeah, it's just been a bunch of depression in regards to life stuff, being told no a lot, and just feeling a bit undervalued, where it's like, a lot of these people keep telling me my voice matters. I have an influence over audiences, but it just doesn't feel like I've been shown in that spotlight. I mean, for a lot of people saying, oh, you do a lot for the show. I don't feel like the show has been doing a lot for me. I know that sounds selfish. And look, I'm grateful because without you, I couldn't do this YouTube stuff. I mean, I could do the YouTube stuff, but what good is it doing the videos if nobody watches it and then I can't make ad revenue and I can't pay my bills? It's just that people tell you how it's like, it's no different as being on a job where you feel overworked, and then your boss or whoever tells you how valuable you are to the company, but you're not compensated in such a way. So look, this isn't me saying, oh, Tyler Perry needs to put my name in neon lights and I need to be on a billboard, or Tyler Perry needs to buy me a house, even though, that would be legit because he's done it before for people and he won a humanitarian award. But, look, I'm just joking. It's just that I just feel like, for the amount of people saying how important I am, I don't feel as important. I guess it's because, my mom being so, determined on the house thing, and it's just that my parents, the thing they don't understand, and it's no disrespect. It's like they look at the housing market, how it was when they got a house all those years ago, $13,000 for like just a standard trailer. Whereas things aren't that simple now, because my dad was like, why don't you just get a trailer? And again, I'm not to poke my nose up, but I know a double wide is technically like a mobile manufactured home, but there's a difference between, again, back where in my hometown is, like a trailer is like a trailer, we didn't live in the trailer park. My mom, when she was younger, her and my aunt lived in a trailer park. She's like, I'm never living in a trailer park. Like, even if I live in a trailer, I'm never living in a trailer park. But, and again, this, please don't be offended if you do. It's just like I'm talking from my own life experiences, okay? But basically, for me, a trailer, it's like my dad's side of the family always looked down on us for living in a trailer, which always kind of bothered me. So for me, I would always, and I'm not getting a house to compensate for their negative talk. It's just that I would get a house because mobile homes, I did research too. The insurance rates on those things are so expensive. You might as well just get a bigger or manufactured or just a house in general. So the manufactured home I wanted was the Tradition, which is a 4-room home, has 2 baths, and it's like $106K. And of course, different things, like I wanted to add a fireplace and, remove the carpet and whatnot and make a couple of modifications. And I'm like, with the money I'm making now, praise God, from the Pokemon card boom on eBay and whatnot, I would hopefully, fingers crossed, be able to pay it off in less than 2 years. I would treat this house mortgage the way I wish I could have treated my student loans if I was making the money back then that I am now. But yeah, so it's like I'm trying to get this loan approved so I can get this thing going, because with the space I would have in that house, it would help me increase the production of my YouTube content. It would allow me more space to do even more with the eBay stuff. And I mean, I did the research, and the post office is pretty close to where we live. It's like 15 minutes away, but USPS, just like at the apartment, would actually pick up from my house, which would be great. So there were a lot of plans that I had for this house to increase my businesses, to make even more money, to pay off the mortgage even faster. But since these people just don't seem to think I'm adequate enough, that's the thing. Is like, you got, these professional people who I need help to get this house and everything, saying I'm not good enough or I'm not making enough money. And then you have all these people on what I do on the, poopy, on the YouTube and all, saying, oh, you're good. And then people from these, I'm not saying names, but some people from certain studios that say I am important, and certain television companies say I do a lot for the shows and whatnot. You say that, but I'm not really feeling the love. It's like, your words can only do so much. Like, that doesn't pay my bills. That doesn't get me approved for the house. So, I mean, hey, if there's anybody from one of these companies that keep telling me how important I am, could you give me a mortgage? I'm not asking for a handout. If you can come up with a loan for me to pay for this house, I will happily pay you back, because you see how big the channel's going and my eBay store is doing well. I'll pay you every cent back if you help a brother out. Again, I know I'm kind of joking there. I'm not asking for a handout, but you can only tell a person how valuable they are so many times before they don't believe you, because you really don't show them how valuable they are. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to get that Tyler Perry Studios invite or anything like that, or some sort of cast event, or some sort of, just, oh, hey, so, post it on social media, whether it be BET or Tyler Perry or whatever, saying, hey guys, check out this guy's channel. He's been reviewing our stuff for years. If you want like a fan's perspective, check him out, subscribe, help him reach 1 million subscribers. So, I just had to get this off my chest. So there you go. A bit personal. I don't think I've ever gotten this personal on the channel before. I think one time, because what was that, girl broke my heart, but that was like a couple years ago, so whatever. But that's pretty much life. It is Saturday, so it's kind of difficult because I kept telling myself, with this being my last full month of being in the apartment, I would enjoy it as best I can, because I know next month is when the craziness starts with the whole moving process. But this month has definitely had its ups and downs. But I'm not crying. I'm just sniffling because I haven't been asleep tonight. So my immune system's kind of weak. So I better drink some orange juice and whatnot soon. But basically, there's just a lot of things holding me down. It's like, I remember one sermon I listened to, God will break your heart so we can blow your mind. Let me just say, truth is, I'm tired. Call me Cora or, Tamala Man. I'm waiting for that breakthrough. I'm waiting for that, not even a flood of blessings, but just something to let me know everything's gonna be okay. That's, if I could just get that little hint of a reassurance, that will be enough to carry me through this entire process. That's just some sign that I'm somewhat appreciated by these people that look at my content, or that's some sign that I'm gonna get a house or somewhere to live, so I'm not stuck at home. Because just look at it from my perspective. Got out of grad school, busting my butt for months trying to find a job. My parents on my ass every day. Why don't you find a job? Why don't you find a job? Because just like the house, they think that finding a job in like 2014 was as simple as them finding a job when they were my age. And basically it felt like I was kicked out of the house because, oh yeah, go to Lynchburg, get this call center job. So I had to drive an hour to and an hour from work for 2-3 weeks until I found an apartment with a guy I knew from school who didn't pay his half of the bills for 6 months, and he still owes me money, but whatever. Then I was stuck at that job for 3 years till my YouTube channel popped off. Sorry, I'm not crying. I'm literally sniffling because I got like a slight, oh man, you need to go to sleep. And then our channel blew up. So then 3+ years, well, almost 3.5 years now, making more money. Well, it took a couple years to make more money doing what I do now as compared to the call center. And right when it looks like I was going to take things to the next level, because, okay, I haven't had any luck in the women department, haven't found anybody, haven't gotten married or anything. So at least I could say I'm educated, I'm self-sufficient when it comes to, working, making money, and I'm going to be a homeowner. But now I got that slapped in the face because guess what? I'm going to be back in my parents' house again. And even though they're cool with me staying there until things figured out, I just feel like it's going to be like 2014 again, where it's going to be, oh, well, you can't find a house, so just find an apartment. I just feel like I'm going to be kicked out again, and I'm going to be like a failure. That's pretty much what my life feels like right now. Which honestly, it doesn't matter because I don't want to stay there anyway, but still, it's just like, I don't want to go back to feeling like a failure when I've been feeling like a success, because it's almost like I've constructed my own bubble since I've been doing YouTube and eBay. It's like it's been my control, my rules, my way. But now it's like, okay, I'm not even going to have my own bathroom at home. I'm going to have a room that's like a third of the size that's in the apartment. It's just so many other limitations. So it's going to suck a lot. So hopefully something will happen positive soon to give me a bit more confidence that things will be okay. But for now, so this will be my last video until, I don't know. I know the 25th, that's when the shows come back. Assisted Living, House of Pain. I don't know if there's anything coming next week. I know that there's that have and have not special on Tuesday, but we'll see what happens with that. So if there's any news, feel free to hit me up on social media. If you made it this far in this video, thank you for listening to me rant. I appreciate it, I guess. And I'll talk to you all soon. And as always, a like and subscribe. If you want to donate, feel free to do so on PayPal or Cash App.